Why Google's announcements today perfectly describe the two sides of the AI market for 2024. Welcome back to the AI Breakdown. You might have recently heard me do an episode about the four battles of the AI stack war. It was a concept that was coined by my friends over at Latent Space, and I think that one could expand it even further and use this idea of the various sub-battles to help understand and describe the industry. Broadly speaking, when I look at where the field is right now, I see companies running in two very different directions. On the one hand, there is, of course, the never-ending pursuit of the state-of-the-art. More advanced models, be they ever bigger models or more performant models at smaller sizes. Whatever it is, the idea is that some number of companies or some parts of companies are focused on pushing the boundaries of what is actually possible. On the other hand, probably the most used word on this show right now is integration. And the other big trend is much more of a consumer-facing trend, a product trend, which is AI coming in to the products and workflows that consumers actually use. This is an adoption trend, of course. It's making AI accessible and useful in a day-to-day way. Now, obviously, in some cases, these two trends converge. But what was interesting about the news coming out of Google today is that there was really two totally different sets that represented each end of the spectrum, which I guess makes sense given just the sheer size of Google and the importance of the AI effort to it. Remember in Sundar Pichai's 2024 goal note, he put AI-related goals as the #1 objective of the company. So let's talk about the integration side first. Google Chrome has announced that it has 3 new integrated generative AI features that are either there or coming soon. The first is something that I think will be familiar to all sorts of deep browsers, which is the problem of having too many tabs open. I'm sure many of you can relate to that point at which you can't even see what each tab is because there's so little space for letters to describe it up top. Well, now Chrome will have a feature where you can right-click on a tab and select Organize Similar Tabs. Chrome will try to bring together all of the tabs that are related, as well as suggesting names and even emojis for those groups. So for example, if you are on the one hand researching a particular topic for work, but on the other looking at flights for your vacation, theoretically Chrome is going to be smart enough to be able to know which of those is which and organize them together. The second AI feature coming to Chrome is a personalization feature. This is an extension of a feature that had previously been released on Android and Pixel phones. It's basically a generative AI wallpaper that allows you to personalize the mood and feel of your browser. Now, beyond just this being neat for people who want a custom background on their browser, one thing that I also found notable was the way in which they're handling the prompting, specifically the fact that they're creating a user experience that isn't just a blinking line. Instead, you're not only going to have a topic, but you're going to be able to add optional details that include style and mood. I think we're seeing this sort of thing more broadly, where to some extent we're moving away from a pure natural language input to a combination of natural language plus presets that work for the particular application. The last AI feature of Chrome is one that makes a ton of sense and is something that, frankly, a lot of browser extensions were already doing, but will now be more natively integrated into the browser. This is, of course, help with writing. So imagine as you are going around the internet just how many times you have to write, leaving a review on a website, replying for an invite to a party, making an inquiry about something you want to buy or rent, to say, of course, nothing of email and other forms of creative writing. Well, now, with this new feature, you'll be able to right-click in text box or field of any site that you visit in Chrome and select the Help Me Write option. Prompt it just like you would any LLM, and this feature will start writing. Similarly to what we discussed, there are preset toggles to modify it for length and tone, again showing how we're moving to hybrid interfaces that include both natural language input as well as presets. So, as I've said frequently, this isn't revolutionary, it's just functional. A lot of people are going to use these types of AIs much more than more out there things or more state-of-the-art things, because these just live where they're spending their time and where they're doing things. But as I mentioned, that was not the only Google AI announcement this week. Yesterday, Google also announced a new video creation AI that they're calling Lumiere. So they call this model a space-time diffusion model for realistic video generation. It includes text-to-video features, image-to-video features, video stylization, and in-painting. The in-painting may be the thing that people are most excited about, so we'll come back to that in a minute. Now, when it comes to how this model differs from previous video generation models, here's the way the team describes it in the research paper abstract. They write, "We introduced Lumiere, a text-to-video diffusion model designed for synthesizing videos that portray realistic, diverse, and coherent motion, a pivotal challenge in video synthesis. To this end, we introduce a space-time U-Net architecture that generates the entire temporal duration of the video at once through a single pass in the model. This is in contrast to existing video models, which synthesize distant keyframes followed by temporal super-resolution, an approach that inherently makes global temporal consistency difficult to achieve. By deploying both spatial and, importantly, temporal down and up sampling, and leveraging a pre-trained text-to-image diffusion model, our model learns to directly generate a full frame-rate, low-resolution video by processing it in multiple space-time scales. We demonstrate state-of-the-art text-to-video generation results, and show that our design easily facilitates a wide range of content creation tasks and video editing applications, including image-to-video, video inpainting, and stylized generation. Now, if you are saying, "What?" to all of that, don't worry about it. I think that the most important thing for the lay perspective is just that this is not just a repeat of other types of video generation models, but is actually a fundamentally different approach. Now, for those of you who are watching, all of the images on the screen were generated with Lumiere. You can hover over and see the prompt that created them, such as a cute mouse typing on a keyboard. They also have examples of image-to-video, stylized generation, where a video is created around a particular style reference image, cinemagraphs where just a specific part of an image is animated but not the whole thing, and video inpainting, which allows creators to change particular parts of a given video. For example, they show a source video of a young woman in a hat and a spotted dress turning around in a field of flowers, and then change that dress in various ways, to a golden strapless gown, a striped strapless dress, a purple dress, a black dress, and more. Now, a couple things to note about this. First of all, it looks super impressive, but this isn't something that you can actually try quite yet. So of course, ultimately, we don't really know how it stands up in practice. Now, one thing people did notice is that this wasn't the only Google video model that they've been discussing, and recently too. Theoretically Media tweets, "Lumiere looks really impressive, but what is going on at Google right now? Didn't they just in late December announce Google Poet, which was another video model? Did Poet get rolled into Lumiere? Or is this a case where the left hand has no idea what the right hand is doing?" Sure enough, Video Poet is another LLM for zero-shot video generation that Google Research has recently been discussing. So far as I can tell, Video Poet and Lumiere are two totally separate efforts. Indeed, comparing the authors of these two papers, there doesn't seem to be any overlap. Now, on the one hand, from the outside in, this certainly does make one wonder about whether Google's efforts are too divided, but at the same time, I think that to some extent, it also shows just how significant video generation is to the state of the art when it comes to generative AI right now. This is an area that's so important that Google apparently has multiple teams racing at it and deploying what are ultimately different strategies to get there. I'm pretty excited for the rapid advancement in this area. I think it's going to open up a ton of creativity. And so for now, I will take all the efforts we can get. That, however, is going to do it for today's AI Breakdown. Thanks, as always, for listening or watching. And until next time, peace.